Alright, so I wanted to make this video just to briefly go over how to vet a setting role. So lots of people have this experience where it's like you get an appointment, set an interview for a role, then the person that's interviewing you is asking these questions for you. Then at the end of the interview, they say, "Oh, so you have any questions?" And you say, "No," and then you just wait for their feedback. That is the wrong thing to do. When they're asking you, "Do you have any questions for me?" You're meant to like hit them with a bunch of questions and learn everything about the offer, because you're not just you're not just applying to work for them. They're also applying to work with you as well. And sure, your appointment setter, you have low leverage, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, you're still a contractor, and you need to know what kind of business you're stepping into before you step into it. So let's start. So the first one that you should be asking is, this isn't in order, by the way, so it doesn't really matter what order you do it in, but let's start from here. What's the last 90 days of revenue? So the reason I don't say monthly is because most offers are organic, and organic revenue is quite volatile. So just go over like the last 90 days, then you can just get an average, then you have a decent understanding of what the offer is doing. So ask them, what's the last 90 days of revenue? What's the lead sources? So are the leads coming from Instagram? Are they coming from TikTok? Are they coming from LinkedIn? Are they coming from Twitter? Like, you need to know where these leads are coming from. Are they coming from likes, from story viewers, from comments, from inbound lead magnets, from paid ads? And then are you doing outbound or inbound? So then outbound would be something like, I'm messaging people who follow me. That's warm outbound. Then cold outbound would be like, I'm messaging people who commented on another person's post who's in my niche. That's cold outbound. Then warm inbound would be, someone opted in for lead magnet. They commented on my post, and let's say I had a post up. This is the offer owner. Let's say the offer owner put a post up, and it's like, comment the word lead if you want me to send you a free resource on XYZ. Then someone comments lead, and then a ManyChat automation goes out, and then you send it to them in the DMs, and then they respond. So then set a KPIs. So this would be something like, how many follow-ups you want me to do daily, how many DMs you want me to do, things like that. I really do need to edit this video, huh? I'm not the best speaker in the world. So set a KPIs would be something like, so how many DMs are we doing? How many follow-ups are we doing? Are there KPIs for book calls? Stuff like that. So a standard would be, let's say, 50 new DMs a day or 150 follow-ups a day, and you need to book 1 call a day or 2 calls a day. And then there's some offers where it's like, you need to send 200 DMs a day, 200 follow-ups, and you need to book 4 calls in a day. Is that realistic every single day? No, but that's something that you need to clarify. Offer age is a big one. Something I've learned is that you don't want to jump on an offer that's like just launched. And I'd say the only exception for this is when the offer owner has launched something in the past and it's proven to have sold. That's when, if let's say they had an offer in the past that's proven to have sold, then to the same audience again, they're gonna launch another offer. Then I'll say that's fine, and you can join that. But if it's like a brand new offer, there's no proof of concept for the offer owner, and they're telling you, "Oh, we're looking for setters to join for this brand new launch." Like, I wouldn't join it. I think you always want to join an offer that has proven history, because you're there as a setter to scale the business. You're not there to launch it from the ground up. That's what the business owner is meant to do. The operator is meant to do. So I'd say, don't really join any offers that haven't been around for at least 3 months, haven't been around for at least 6 months. The longer the better, essentially. Any other setters on offer? This just ties back into the original one. If there's any other setters on offer, then it proves that there's history there. It proves that the offer's making money, the setter's making money. Otherwise, it would have left. Then how long has the setter been there? Just ties into that. That ties into offer age. Is there base pay included? So this is just going into the commission structure of the offer. Some offers have 5% for, let's say, a standard high ticket offer. Then they have 10% for a low ticket offer. So that would be the commissions. So then you basically want to clarify that. Then you want to make sure, okay, is there base pay included in this? If so, what are the conditions for it? Is it that I have to hit or exceed my KPI in terms of volume done for X amount of time, then I get base pay? Or is it there from the start, or is it not there at all? Training provided or not? When I say training provided, I'd say, like, you basically want to ask them, like, okay, so what are your SOPs? Do you have any resources that you send to leads in conversations? Or are there any like Looms or Notion documents that we need to go through? in order to fully understand this? Is there anything explaining the niche itself, or do I have to do research on my own about it? Things like that. Are there any scripts? But I'd say training. The main thing about training would mostly be, I say for training, the main thing about training would mostly be like, what are the team calls and what's the schedule for that? Because that's really where you're going to get most of the feedback outside of the market itself, talking to people all day long. But most of the training is done when you're actually on calls, reviewing convos, planning ahead for the next week, for the next month, reviewing the last week, the last month. That's where most of the training is done. So it ties back into the next point about team call schedule. How often is your team having calls for this new offer that you might potentially be joining? Are they daily? Are they every other day? Are they once a week? How long are they going on for? Things like this you need to clarify. Who's the closer and what's their close rate? This is a big one. Offers where the founder is closing themselves are naturally going to have a higher close rate because they know about the offer themselves since they launched it. And then they're the face of the brand as well. So there's inherently more trust with the prospect who's just booked in for a call with them. So defining who the closer is really important. And something I've learned is that when closers can be fickle, like you can book a call in as a setter and the closer might be like, oh, I don't really like this prospect, so I'm not going to take the call. Like stuff like that is something you have to define early on. And sure, you can't really like know about something like that, whether you can't know about a closer's personality until you've already onboarded onto a new offer. But having clarity on who the closer is, what's their close rate, how long have they been closing for, the same way you'd vet whether there's any other setters on the offer, is the same thing that you should do for the closer. Is the founder closing? What's their close rate? If they tell you, oh yeah, we have a 60% close rate, 70% close rate, you need to make sure that you clarify, is this on, 2 calls or is it on 20 calls? Is it on 200 calls? These are all things that you need to clarify before you even think about onboarding onto an offer. Because lots of people can tell you, yeah, our offer's got 70% close rate, 80% close rate, but they've taken like 2 calls. So, the numbers are a bit fucked there, but let's say out of 4 calls, we've closed 3 out of 4 deals. They won't tell you the number specifically, but they'll be like, yeah, we've got a 60%, 75% close rate, but you've barely taken any calls because your offer just launched. So commission structure, payout structure, this is important. Is there a contract? How often are you paying out? Is the pay cycles weekly? Do I have to send you an invoice? Are you going to pay directly to my bank account? You'd want to prefer people who actually operate with contracts. You want to, ideally you're sending people invoices, you're getting paid directly to your Stripe account, things like this. Payout cycle, we've already mentioned that. So ideally you want to be getting paid weekly, bi-weekly. I know people who are on offers and they get paid once a month, but I think in something like sales especially, you want to get paid as quickly as possible. So you'd prefer offers that pay you out weekly or bi-weekly. Then sales cycle length. How long does it take for the average deal to close? I think that's really important, especially if you're doing this for cash flow, for income, and you're trying to make money weekly in this. That's what cash flow is, right? You have to make money weekly. It's like, how can you work an offer where the average deal, the sales cycle takes 45 days to close, but you need to fucking pay bills or get money in your bank account in the next 7 to 14 days? You can't. So you have to prioritize offers where the average sales cycle lasts 72 hours, 48 hours, 96 hours, things like that. So yeah, that's basically it. If you have any more questions about what you would ask for a certain role, you can just DM me on Instagram or something like that. And yeah, I guess the main points that really stand out is focus on offers that are preferably inbound. If you can't do inbound, then focus on warm outbound. You probably shouldn't be doing cold outbound, but I guess it depends on what the niche is, because some cold outbound niches are really high intent. Make sure to clarify that they've actually made money. Make sure the offer isn't just launching. And if it is just launching, make sure the offer owner has proof of concept in the past. Make sure there's other setters on offer and other setters have been proven to make money. Make sure there's not some insane close rate that they're claiming because they've only taken 2 calls in the entire history of the offer. Make sure that there's actually support in order to develop as a setter and they're not just throwing you into the deep end with no training or anything. And the only time they call you up or have meetings with you is when they're telling you, hey, what's going on? Not in a good way. Make sure the commission structure is actually favorable and they're not slamming you out. Make sure the payout structure is clear. Make sure these people operate with contracts and make sure these deals actually close quickly. So yeah, That's how to vet a certain role.